Session, the Honorable Judge Dredd is presiding. Please rise. Thank you. You all may be seated. All right. We have before us a criminal and civil case today in the court. The state versus the king and Rumpelstiltskin as co-conspirators in actions against the queen, formerly known as the miller's daughter. The charges are as follows. Number 1, unlawful restraint against the king. Number 2, criminal trespassing with an upcharge of stalking against Rumpelstiltskin. And number 3, fraudulent misrepresentation on the part of the king and Rumpelstiltskin. The civil suit, the king and Rumpelstiltskin are bringing charges against the queen. Number 1, inducement by deception, that the queen deceived the king as to whether she could spin straw in the gold. And number 2, breach of contract between the queen and Rumpelstiltskin. So jury, you are instructed to consider whether the state has made its case in unlawful restraint, criminal trespassing, and fraudulent misrepresentation on criminal charges where there will be jail time and fines assessed. And then as far as the civil suit, inducement by deception and breach of contract, separate charges against the queen. You need to decide if those have been proven, and if so, if they're substantiated, then the queen will be assessed some fines. Any questions? Okay, all right, the state, are you ready to proceed? Okay, so, opening statement, please. You're gonna face the jury because you gotta convince them.
Okay. Your Honor, members of the jury, my name is J.C. Wallace, representing the prosecution in this case. My client, the Queen, is pressing charges as follows: kidnapping, unlawful restraint, smuggling persons, trespassing, and upcharge of stalking. We will call 6 witnesses, the 4 maids, a messenger, and a guard. After you've heard all the evidence, at the end of the trial, we will ask you to return a verdict in favor of the Queen.
Thank you. Defense, if you will make your opening statement.
My name is Jolie Smith. I'm a lawyer for the king and Rumpelstiltskin. We believe that Rumpelstiltskin and the king are not guilty. The miller allegedly told the king that his daughter could spin gold. The queen has accused Rumpelstiltskin of trying to steal her child. When in witnesses' evidence, she promised the little man what he demanded. The queen is complaining after Rumpelstiltskin practically made her rich by spinning the gold for her so she could marry the king. The queen was caught trespassing on Rumpelstiltskin's property without his consent, trying to figure out his name, even though she promised she would hand her first child over if he spun the straw. The queen should face consequences.
All right, thank you. State, you may proceed with your case.
The queen was held against her will and threatened with her life. The king specifically told the queen if she does not spin the straw by morning, that she will die. He told her multiple times. The king said, "Get to work now, spin all night, and by morning if you have not spun the straw into gold, you will have to die." Then he himself locked the room, and she was there all alone. King, why do you want the gold so bad if you're already rich since you are the king? Oh.
The king.
I'll call the witnesses. Okay.
Sorry. Raise your right hand. Nope. Raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
to tell the truth,
to tell the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the
and
truth,
nothing but the truth,
as far as I know it.
as far as I know it.
For the record, please state your name.
With you, those? With the queen?
My name
I don't know my last name. You're interrupting.
I don't think that's legal. Right, lawyers need to ask.
Guilty.
Tell her story. ask her to tell the court.
Tell us the court your story.
Yes.
Oh,
So one day my father told me that the king had requested to see me, and so I walked, and he locked me in a dungeon, and he told me that I had tonight to spin the straw, and if I didn't spin it, he was going to kill me. And he left, and he locked the door, and all of a sudden this little man appeared. And he said that if I gave him something in return, he would spin the gold for me. And so I gave him a ring, and so he did it for me. The next morning the king came in, he was really pleased, he was happy, and he said it again. Like, if I didn't spin it, he was going to kill me. So the next night the little man came, and he asked again for something, and I gave him my necklace. So he did it, the king was happy. The last day he said it again, if I didn't do as he asked, he was going to kill me. So I proceeded to, so the little man came back. I didn't have anything else to give him, so he asked me if I promised him my first child, and I said yes. So he did it, and the king was happy, and then he told me he was going to marry me. So about a year later, I had a baby, and I thought nothing more of the little man, and he came back, and he just all of a sudden appeared into my room one night and said, "Now give me what you promised." And I started freaking out. I was like, "You're not going to take my baby." And so he said, "You have 3 days to guess my name, and if you don't guess it, then I'm taking your baby." And so I sent messengers out to try to help me find his name. The first night I didn't have anything. Second night I didn't have anything. The third night finally I guessed his name, and it was Rumpelstiltskin. And he got mad that I guessed his name, and then he left. But he was very adamant that if I did not guess his name, he was going to take my baby.
do you have any other questions or? Okay, witness may sit down. Do you have any other witnesses who would like to call to present your case?
Do they have like mid-morning?
Sure, or tell me which ones you want.
The short one in the middle.
Okay, May Brooklyn. All right, I do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as far as I know. For the record, please state your name. Oh, your name is
Maybe three.
I'm the
Why?
mayor. Okay. All right. State.
Do you know anything about the queen and the king?
No, I just overheard the king say that he was going to kill the queen.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay, we call him the tall maid.
Okay. Witness may sit down. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
Tell the truth,
to tell the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the
and
truth,
nothing but the truth.
as far as I know.
That's my name.
For the record, state your name.
Name.
Number one. Okay. All right, maid number one.
Okay, do you know anything about Rumpelstiltskin coming to the castle?
What?
Do you know anything about Rumpelstiltskin entering the castle?
He entered without anyone's,
Consent.
yeah, consent. There's also evidence of the king threatening to kill the queen if she didn't do as he said, and that's it.
Do you have any further questions? All right, witness may step down. Do you have any other witnesses at this time? All right, defense, you will make your case.
I'm Patty Song representing the king, and our first claim is the queen did not ever say that she could or couldn't spin the straw. So the miller did lie whenever he put the queen up to the king.
Okay, do you want to call any witnesses to support that? The miller?
Yes, the miller.
Okay. I do solemnly swear. Tell the truth. The whole truth. And nothing but the truth. As far as you know. For the record, state your name. Okay. All right, question?
Why did you say your daughter could spin straw into gold if she couldn't do that?
I lied so she could get a chance of going to the kingdom.
Yeah.
Did you actually believe that she could do it?
No.
Okay. I call up the king.
Okay, I'm gonna step down.
Step down.
I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
To tell the truth.
to tell the truth,
The whole truth.
the whole truth,
And nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth,
As far as I know.
as far as I know.
For the record, state your full name.
The king.
Please tell me your story about your meeting with the miller about his daughter.
The miller came up one day and said that his daughter could spin straw into gold. So I believed that. And it made me happy knowing that someone could do that. So I said that I told the miller to bring his daughter, and I would put her to the test to see if she could actually do it. So then I put her in for 3 days, and the first day I went into the room, and all I saw was a bunch of gold and no straw. So that made me believe. So I did a second day, and I went to the room and saw no straw, but more gold. And then I did it for one more day and told her that if she did it again, that she'd become my wife. And I go into the third day, and there was more gold. And that's all.
All right, any further questions? All right, can we ask? Not yet. During the rebuttal, you can pull him back up there. Okay. All right, any other witnesses for the defense? Like,
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as far as I know. State your name for the record. All right.
You're not deliberating yet.
Why did you help the queen?
I didn't have a reason not to.
Were you upset when she didn't give you her baby?
Yeah.
What caused you to rip yourself in half?
The anger I had towards the queen.
Did you wish she gave you any more things besides just a necklace and a ring? And the promise of the baby?
The actual baby.
All right, witness may step down. Do you have any other witnesses that you have? All right, prosecution, you may call your first rebuttal witness. So anybody that you want to call to refute what was just said, you may call those people at this time.
We would like to call the king.
All right, King? And sir, remember you are still under oath, so you must tell the truth.
Why did you want the gold so bad from the queen if you're already so rich?
Because I wanted more gold.
Why were you threatening her?
Because when you're with the royal family, all you have to tell the truth. You cannot lie. If you do, you're threatened with death.
Why were you holding her captive?
because I had to make sure that it was true and that I was just not being lied to. So I held her for 3 days.
All right, witness may step down.
We'd like to call Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh, hang on a minute. Defense, do you want to call any rebuttal witnesses this time?
The Miller.
The Millers.
Oh, yes.
And Miller, remember, you are still under oath, whatever that may mean to you. All right, defense, questions for the Miller.
Why did you lie straight to the king's face? Just because.
So that she could have a better home in the kingdom.
But you didn't know that the
I
king
did
was.
not know that she was going to be threatened with death.
Well, you didn't know she was going to become queen either. You just
I
lied.
also think she would.
How did you feel when she gave up all her stuff and then refused to give Rumpelstiltskin the baby?
She gave all her stuff.
Her ring and her,
What did you have?
She can help me on this.
so witness will need to answer the question. Would you please ask the question again, sir?
How did you feel when she gave up all of her things and then she refused to give Rumpelstiltskin her baby and broke the contract?
I didn't know that she did any of that. She didn't tell me none. That's a bad daughter.
Yes, that is all.
All right, witness may sit down. All right, prosecution, call another rebuttal witness.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin. And remember, Mr. Rumpelstiltskin, you are still under oath.
Okay, how do you feel about cannibalism?
You think that's funny?
The queen's child. How do you feel about that? She's not
Do you
guilty.
have evidence of this
They're not
singing a
guilty.
song I will bake tomorrow? and
I'm not being
approve?
paid this latest.
Then today I'll bake, tomorrow I'll approve.
This is not funny, this is serious.
I think, well, the baby was just newborn, so it has loose skin, so. Yeah, it would have been better than old teeth.
How do you know what old people taste like?
You just look at the scene. What? Why are you looking at it?
All right,
Alright.
may sit down. All right, defense, do you have another rebuttal witness you would like to call?
The queen. The queen.
All right, Queen. And remember, Queen, you are still under oath.
Why did you break your contract with Rumpelstiltskin and not give him the baby once he had helped you, like, not die 3 times in a row?
Because I was under duress and I didn't have a choice and I was trying to save my life and I surely didn't think he was going to follow through a year later.
We were still under oath, and you didn't give him the baby, and which is why he came back and asked for it. That's all.
For, Queen, let's see.
Why didn't you put up a fight when the king promised to let you go after the first day? You didn't put up a fight whenever he made you stay the 2 more extra days.
He did not offer to let me go. He said if I didn't do it, and then he kept continuing and saying that, like, for 2 extra days, that if I didn't do as he asked, he was going to kill me. So I didn't have an option.
All right. Prosecution, do you have any other rebuttal witnesses?
No.
You're good? Defense, do you have any more rebuttal witnesses? No? Okay. All right, prosecution, if you will make your closing statements.
Your Honor, member of the jury, my name is Addison Meneses, representing the prosecution in this case. The evidence has shown by a preponderance of the evidence that my client, the Queen, has been held against her will, stalked, and threatened with being killed by the King and Rumpelstiltskin. We're here to prove that the King and Rumpelstiltskin are guilty of kidnapping, unlawful restraint, and smuggling a person. This is a Title V offense. For these reasons, after you have heard all of the evidence, at the end of this trial, we will ask you to return your verdict in the favor of the Queen.
All right, thank you. Defense, your closing statement.
Good morning, my name is Wyatt Hicks. I'm representing the King and Rumpelstiltskin. Why did the Queen lie?
I don't know.
Why did the miller lie? Why did he say that the miller could spend the gold if she couldn't do that? Do you believe that she could? Remember, the little man's wish was she did not do it. The miller lied so he could get his daughter into the kingdom. But the king just wanted to make it right. And I'm representing the king, that's all.
All right, thank you. All right. Members of the jury, you are hereby charged with deliberating to see if the King and Rumpelstiltskin are guilty of unlawful restraint, holding the Queen against her will, criminal trespassing and stalking, and fraudulent misrepresentation. You're also charged with figuring out if the inducement by deception or breach of contract pertains to the Queen. So if you will adjourn to our jury deliberation room. Yeah. All right, jury foreperson, have we reached a verdict?
Yes, Your Honor, we have.
All right, if you would be so kind as to read it to the court.
In the criminal charges, for the charge of unlawful restraint by the King, we find the defendant not guilty. In the charge of criminal trespassing and stalking against Rumpelstiltskin, we find the defendant not guilty. In the case of fraudulent misrepresentation against Rumpelstiltskin and the King, we find both to be not guilty.
What are you laughing at?
They can't handle me in court. In the civil case of inducement by deception, we did not find that the Queen deceived the King, but we did find that the miller deceived the Queen and the civil settlement. It is proven and substantiated, and the miller should be found guilty of that. In breach of contract against the Queen, we did find that there was a breach of contract by the Queen with Rumpelstiltskin.
All right. The court thanks you for your time and your attention. So, the King and Rumpelstiltskin, you are hereby free to go. The Queen, you will be assessed charges in the amount of $10,000 to be payable to Rumpelstiltskin only. Court is adjourned.